are you doing today? Good morning, Sarvesh. Hi, good morning. Kumar, Sajia. Hi, Santosh. Very good morning. How was your weekend? Nice. Did you completed all your practicals? Very good. Okay, so what did we discuss in our last class? S3, right? Versioning. Okay. Okay. Well, so today, let me share my screen. So can you please confirm? Can you see my screen? And can you hear me well? Okay. So today, let's talk about something called storage classes. What is that? Storage classes. Storage classes. So guys, do you remember in our EC2 section, we discussed about different pricing models. Remember pricing models? The same way here also, we have something called different storage classes. Why we have different storage classes? First of all, remember one thing. Whenever you are uploading any files, right? Whenever you upload any files in S3, selecting one storage class is mandatory. Selecting a storage class is mandatory. What is storage class here? So guys, AWS will have definitely different kind of customers. So one guy, what he'll do is he'll come and he upload all his photos. He'll pay for, he'll say that how much I have used the GB, and he pay for it, and then he just leave. Right? Let's say that is customer one. He come and he put the files and he frequently uses that. Right? He frequently uses that and he pay for it. And there will be another customer saying that, hey AWS, I want to put my files in S3, and AWS will say, yes, go ahead. And then he's also putting the files in S3, but he is not frequently using the data. But still he's paying the same as what the customer one is paying for frequently accessed data. The second customer, he is not accessing the files frequently. It is not infrequently accessed data. So he saw everything, and then he said that, hey AWS, see, I'm not accessing my files. I'm not at all frequently accessing it. And why I need to pay the same price as the first guy is paying? He's leveraging S3, he's utilizing S3 a lot. But in my case, I'm not frequently accessing it. Why I need to pay the same amount? Understood? So that is the reason why, guys, AWS S3 came up with different storage classes based on customers' requirement. Right? So the first thing is selecting the storage class is super mandatory. Okay, let's start saying that. I'll write here that while uploading the objects in S3, selecting the storage class is mandatory. is mandatory. Okay. With this being said, so let's go ahead and then, so AWS came up with the first storage class, which is called standard frequently access. Write down standard frequently access. For example, you can, for shortcut, you can put FA, standard frequently access. Standard frequently access. Standard frequently access. So when this is used, so this is used for frequently access. Yes, this is used for frequently access data. This is used for frequently access data. And guys, remember, whenever there are different types of storage classes, and if you don't know which to select, there will be a default storage class, right? So this guy itself is a default storage class. Which is a default storage class? Standard frequently access is a default storage class. Certification question. Getting it? So when this is used for all regular purpose, right? Putting, uploading all your data, using it for your regular purpose. Regular purpose. Okay, you tell me, will there be any retrieval charges if you are using the data frequently? No retrieval charges. No retrieval charges, guys. So because you are accessing the data frequently, there will be no retrieval charges for it. This is the first storage class. And as I said, there is another customer who is coming and asking, hey, I don't want to pay as this first guy is using. I'm not accessing my data frequently at all. And for that, they have designed something called standard infrequently access data. Infrequently access, IA. Write down. Write down, guys. IA. Standard infrequently accessed data. Standard. So when this is used for the data which is not frequently used. It is not frequently used. See here. This is used for infrequently accessed data. So guys, definitely this would be a cheaper than S3, cheaper than the first one, right? Cheaper than FA. Okay, and also people might think, sir, we'll do one thing. I'll try to use infrequently access storage class, and what I'll do is I'll access it frequently. Is it possible to do like that? No, because guys, if you have selected infrequently access data, you have to be infrequently use it, because here in infrequently access, what will happen is retrieval charges apply. Unless you definitely need it, don't access it frequently when you go for infrequently access data, because how much ever you retrieve it, you have to pay for that retrieval charges. And keep this in mind, as it is saying infrequently access data. So you have uploaded the data. It's just a storage class, type of class. Whenever you are uploading an object into S3, you have to select whether it has to be frequently accessed or it has to be infrequently accessed, like this. So whenever you select infrequently accessed, don't think that whenever you're retrieving it, it will take a lot of time. No, it will demand rapid access. That meaning if you access it, immediately you will get it, like Google Drive, just like that. That is standard frequently access. One is frequently and another one is infrequently access. Getting it, guys, everyone? Everyone? Okay. And then these two are not sufficient. There is another customer coming and saying that, hey, we have something called, I want to access it frequently, but my data is not critical. He came with the requirement to the S3 saying that, hey, AWS S3, I want to access it frequently. Then AWS S3 said, like, go and use the first one. And customer says that, no, first one is for frequently accessed data, which is critical data. I know S3, AWS S3, you will handle the data very nicely. But in my case, my data is not critical. Can you give me a good discount? And AWS came up with another one called reduced, reduced redundancy, reduced redundancy storage. Write down. We call it as RRS. Reduced redundancy storage, RRS. And this storage class is used for what purpose? This storage class is used for frequently access, but not critical data, but not critical. Frequently access, but not critical. Guys, as it is frequently accessed, there will be any retrieval charges? No retrieval charges. And guys, as it says that reduce redundancy storage. So as a customer is asking for non-critical data, but AWS says that no, please don't use it. So AWS doesn't recommend to use this storage class because this is reduced redundancy. Redundancy has been reduced, so you're not, AWS is not responsible for your data if you select this kind of storage class, but it will be definitely cheaper than others. Getting it? By seeing this frequently access not critical, another customer came up and he says that, hey, what about infrequently access not critical? Then this guy AWS came up with something called one zone IA. What is another storage class, guys? One zone IA. So one zone itself meaning one availability zone. So that meaning infrequently access data, but not critical. Infrequently access, but not critical. Infrequent access, not critical. As it is infrequently, retrieval charges apply or not? Retrieval charges apply. Guys, getting it? Earlier we used to have only standard frequently access and infrequently. That's it. But later, as the customers has been increasing and they have led different kind of requirements, for that reason they came up with a different storage classes. And there is another customer saying this, hey, AWS S3, and he says that intelligent tiring. Intelligent tiring meaning, guys, intelligent tiring meaning. So this customer says that AWS is asking, hey, customer, you want to access it frequently or infrequently? Or frequently access but not critical, or infrequently access not critical? Which one? And this guy says that, no, I don't know anything. Customer is saying, I don't know anything. I don't know whether I want to access it frequently. I don't know whether I don't want to access it frequently. For this kind of things, we have something called this unknown access patterns. Unknown access patterns. Unknown access patterns meaning it is an intelligent tiring. So automatically based on the customer's access, it will change from frequently access to infrequently or infrequently to frequently. Understood? Getting it? And we have another storage class, which you know very well, Glacier. What is Glacier used for, guys? What is Glacier is for? Is it frequently accessed or infrequently accessed? Yes, it is infrequently accessed. Infrequently access data. And this is used for archiving. This is for archiving purpose. Guys, in S3, we have a bucket, right? In S3, we have a bucket. In S3, we have a bucket. But in Glacier also, we need to have some folder, right? And instead of bucket, here we call it as something called vault. Write down vault. V-A-U-L. Right, vault. What is vault meaning? So vault meaning, guys, same as like bucket only. What does the bucket contain? Bucket contain objects. But here, vault contains archives. It's a container of archives. What does the vault contain? Archives. And what is an archive? Archive is like an object, guys. Archive is, it can be a zip file, archive. Archive meaning it's an object or it's an archive, your zip file. And you know, each zip file can contain up to 40 terabyte. What can be the size of one zip file? 40 terabyte. Guys, 40 terabyte. Like this, you can have unlimited number of archives. Like this, you have in one vault, unlimited number of archives. Each archive can be 40 terabyte. Like this, you can have unlimited number of archives. And how many vaults you can create? You know, you can create 1,000 vaults. Too much, right? And of course, retrieval charges apply. Retrieval charges apply. Is this clear? Hearing it? So as I said, retrieval charges apply. For Glacier, they have something called Glacier has the retrieval options. Glacier has retrieval options. Glacier has retrieval options. We call it as expedited. Expedited, standard, and then bulk. So if you want to retrieve data from Glacier, you cannot retrieve it directly, guys. Like a standard infrequently, you can demand rapid access, right? So this Glacier doesn't demand rapid access. So for expedited, it will take 1 to 5 minutes. So if you want to retrieve the data within 1 to 5 minutes, then you have to go for expedited. Then it is standard, meaning it will take 3 to 5 hours if you want to retrieve it. And then a bulk meaning, you know very well, it will take 5 to 12 hours. If you want to retrieve huge data, then you have to use this retrieval options, expedited, standard, and bulk. Is this clear till here, everyone? So these are all the different storage classes, and these are all the different storage classes that we have within in S3. So while uploading any objects, so mandatorily you have to select any of the one of the storage class. And which is the default storage class that we have? FA, standard frequently access. Now, question for you here is, guys, so we have two things. What is availability? Availability, we say that anytime data is called availability. And durability, durability meaning a long time, how long the data is available. So let us see what is availability and durability for each and every storage classes. So if you put the data in standard frequently access, what is the availability and what is the durability? So I'll write it here. Availability for this, it is 99.99% is the availability. Of course, it is Rahul. It is infrequently accessed data, right? Retrieval charges, definitely. I wrote it now in the bottom. And durability. Durability is 11 nines. How much? 11, 99.9999 like this, you have 11 nines. So for this, availability is 19 has been reduced because it is infrequently accessed data, right? And for this, availability is this, and durability, redundancy has been reduced, right? So that's meaning that 99.99% only, not 11 nines. For one zone, it is only one availability zone. So that means it is 99.5% only. For unknown access patterns, 99.19, 99.9% and 11 nines. And for this guy, it is 99.99 and 11 nines. So these are all the different availabilities and durabilities for each and every storage class. And guys, can you tell me, let's say, for example, I'm putting all my data, in frequently access. This is default storage class. But after some point of time, I don't want to access it frequently. So is it recommended or is suitable or is good to keep all the data in frequently access storage class and pay for to the AWS? So what should we do? Can we move the objects from one storage class to another storage class? From frequently access to infrequently access? Yes. But is it possible for us to go ahead and then do it one by one for each and every object? Not possible. So for that reason, AWS came up with another new concept, and that is called life cycle management. What is that? Life cycle management. Life cycle management. So this life cycle management, what do we do is we'll create something called life cycle rules. What do we do? We create life cycle rules. What these life cycle rules will do? So guys, it is possible to move the objects from one storage class to another storage class automatically. So if you create a rule saying that, hey, these are all the objects, you can do the rule for the entire bucket, right? You can create a rule for entire bucket or only for prefix. What is prefix meaning here? Yes, prefix, yeah, subfolder. Very good, Hari. Other guys don't reply at all. Only two people. Guys, what is prefix meaning? Yeah, please reply. Yeah. Okay. Prefix meaning subfolder. So you can create the rule for the entire bucket, or you can create for particular subfolders also. And automatically those objects will be moved from one storage class to another storage class based on your selected option. So what is the minimum object size, guys? Minimum object size. 0 bytes, no? 0 bytes. So and here minimum object size. So for this guy, it is 128 KB. For standard infrequently access, the minimum objects that if you want to put it in infrequently access is minimum, it should be 128 KB, at least 128 KB. Here also for one zone also, minimum object size is 128 KB, right? And we have something called minimum duration. Guys, minimum duration. What is this minimum duration is? If you want to move from one storage class to another storage class, minimum how many days it should be there in infrequently access? If you want to move to infrequently access, the storage should be there. The object should be there in the storage class for minimum 30 days. For here also, minimum 30 days. For here also, minimum 30 days. For this guy, minimum for Glacier, minimum 90 days. Everything first infrequently access for one zone. For these people, for intelligent tiring, it is 30 days. But for Glacier itself, it is only 90 days. And AWS came up with something called another one, Deep Glacier. The name itself is saying for you. So Deep Glacier, it is 180 days. So that meaning, if you want Glacier meaning archiving, Deep Glacier meaning completely archive it. So if you want to move it, so it should be 180 days old object. Is it clear till here before I get to the next topic? Nice. Okay. So let us talk a little bit more on LCM. So what is the full form of LCM? Life cycle management. In shortcut, I generally call it as LCM. So let's say you have created so let's say this is LCM, life cycle rule. Super. Okay. So how life cycle management is just, guys, S3, I am telling you, practicals are very easy. So life cycle management. So you can use this life cycle management in any bucket, in any subfolder. So let us see what is this LCM rule. So let's say, for example, I'll have a policy saying that, hey, my frequently accessed data, right? My object is in first one, frequently accessed. From there, it should move to infrequently accessed. From there, it should move to the Glacier. Can we create a rule like this? Automatically, at this particular point of time, after 30 days, it will move to the infrequently accessed. And after there, from Glacier, it should move to the Glacier. And from there, it should go and delete it completely. Guys, are you understanding the rule? Can I create a rule? Because I don't want to do it manually. I want, let's say I can create a rule saying that, hey, all my data in this bucket, after 30 days, you should move to infrequently accessed. And after that, my data is not at all used. Maybe after some days, maybe after 90 some days, I want to move it to Glacier. Maybe after 1 year, I don't want to use the data either. Automatically, it should get deleted. Do I need to go ahead and can I do it manually? Can I check manually all these things? No, you simply create a rule. What rule? LCM rule. How? See, by default, all your data will be there in standard frequently accessed storage class. And from there, I just want to move to infrequently accessed. Minimum how many days? You know that minimum it should be 30 days. And from IA, I want to move to the Glacier. Guys, already 30 days over. Actually, what is the minimum duration for Glacier? How many days? 90 days. 30 days has been over. So if I keep 60 days, that should be fine. So guys, moving like this is called actually transition. What is this called? Transition. And after that, we'll say that delete after 365 days. You can give any number, and this is called expiration. This is called what? Expiration. So in LCM, mainly we have two things. What are those? Transition and expiration. What is that, guys? Transition and expiration. So remember, LCM is created on bucket level. Everything what you do it on the bucket level only, guys, right? And applied on object level. And applied on object level. And this rules can be applied for your current version and also can be applied for your previous version files also. Guys, understood how to create an LCM rule? Clear? Can you give me 5 minutes? I'll just be back. So there is a power outage. So let's see how much my UPS backup time will be there. Okay. So guys, just in case if I drop all of sudden, so imagine my backup power is gone, and we'll be connecting tomorrow like that. Okay, just in case. Okay, so if you understood till here, this is a life cycle rule. This is how you create. So guys, in S3 there are very small things. What is the minimum size of redundancy? There is no minimum size of redundancy here. Oh, in redundancy storage, in redundancy storage, if it is nothing, then 0. Otherwise, we can see it in the practical. So there is something called small options in S3, which is called object lock. What is object lock? Guys, you can lock it permanently. You can lock it permanently, or you can lock it for certain period of time. What is lock? You know very well. Lock meaning you cannot update, delete, you cannot do anything for that particular object. You can lock it, right? No need. Okay, I have, yeah. And guys, so let's say, for example, here we have a bucket. Okay, for example, we have a bucket. For example, we have a bucket. Have a bucket name. Let's say, for example, we have a bucket name called movies. Okay. So I have so many movies inside this bucket. I have so many movies inside this bucket, guys. And some customers or some you guys want to, you guys want to access these movies bucket. But I want to know who are all accessing my bucket actually. Not only movies here, anything. If you want to know who are all accessing your bucket, we can get to know something called server access log. What is that? Server access log. Server access logs meaning guys, whoever all is accessing your bucket, all the logs will be generated. But can you tell me, guys, is it good to create the bucket? Is it good to put the logs in the same bucket, or it's good to create a separate bucket for the logs? So it's good to create a separate bucket. Yes, like this, we can create a separate bucket and you call it as something called movie bucket access logs like this, right? So all the logs will be automatically put over here inside this. 1 second. Yeah. So it's good to create in the separate bucket, right? And then if you go into that particular bucket, so you can see all the log files which got generated over there. So server access logs meaning, so basically who is accessing your bucket will be, you will get to know using this movie bucket access logs. So logs are, remember, these server access logs are bucket level. Guys, server access logs are bucket level logs. So if at all you want to see object level logging, possible. So who is accessing your object can also be checked. But guys, which is the service in AWS where it will log each and everything that what you access in AWS? Cloud Trail, right? Remember Cloud Trail? Yes. So CloudTrail is a guy where if you want to go and get object level login, so you can get it from this CloudTrail logs. So guys, can you tell me these logs that what you have, what the S3 or AWS is generated, this is nicely readable logs. Is it good to go ahead and just read it? You know how the logs will be there. Guys, you know how the logs will be generated. There is no delimitation, the delimiters, and it's not, you cannot understand that logs properly. So for this, AWS came up with another service which is purely used by the developers, and that service name is called Athena. What is that? Athena. What is that, guys? Athena. Yes, to reading the log. So this Athena is used to analyze logs directly from S3. So if you want to analyze or read the logs, or you want to customize the logs, if you want to get the logs, then which is the service that you can use it? Athena. So Athena is a service, guys, where it what you can do is basically you can create a table. You can create a table. So and you can give the column names. So guys, you know very well in the logs you have all the columns, right? I mean, you in the logs you know which log is okay. In that log, you see IP address. You can give the IP address from where it is getting source and destination and which objects that you're using and which method that you're using, right? And then which URL that you are accessing, etc., etc. All basically you can create a table like this, and you can connect this log to this Athena table. So all the logs will be added into this table, right? And then simply what you can do, you can write your SQL queries, and then you can retrieve the logs, customized log based on your requirement. Basically, Athena is a service or a tool which can analyze the logs directly from S3 by creating this table format. Clear? Yes, is this clear? Everyone? CC? Nice. And the next concept here, we call it as CORS. What is that? Cross origin resource sharing. Cross origin resource sharing. So guys, this is basically used for developers again. So let's imagine, so let me tell you this. Let's say, for example, we have two buckets here. Okay, let's say one bucket. So here in this bucket, and guys, does the bucket support static website hosting? Yes or no? Yes. So let's say I have given a name called COTS bucket one, and inside that I have uploaded something called index.html. So can I open this index.html in my browser because it supports static website hosting, right? Yes. So I open my browser. This is my browser, and I open my application inside it. Guys, understanding, guys? And I open my index.html. Will it, does it work? Yes, because I have enabled static website hosting here, and then I open my index.html in the browser, and it works. And now I have uploaded something called load.html or something called puppy.jpg. Guys, can you tell me, can I call this puppy.jpg into this index.html and embed that? Developers, very minimum basic concept. Can I call this puppy.jpg into index.html? Yes, yes, no, we can write. So when you call this puppy.jpg index.html, whenever you open index.html, you can see puppy also, right? Puppy photo. Yes or no? You can see puppy photo, right? Hey, Babu, reply, yeah. Yes, yes, good. Thank God. So, and this works, and this works, right? So here, let's say, and this generally works, right? So now let's do one thing. I'll create another bucket. I'll create another bucket. So I have my puppy.jpg here now. Puppy.jpg. So guys, each and every, and this bucket name is COTS bucket 2. Example, COTS bucket 2. So every object will have the endpoint or URL, right? Do I need to write that? http:// COTS bucket 2 dot s3 dot aws dot amazon aws dot com/puppy.jpg, like this, roughly, right? It will be like this, right? And now, instead of calling this puppy.jpg from the same bucket, now I will be calling this puppy.jpg into index.html from the different bucket. Will this work? So guys, by default, it doesn't work. So whenever you open puppy.jpg, this puppy.jpg will not work over here, because this is one origin, guys. This is one origin, this is one bucket origin, and this is also another origin. There are two different origins, right? Like this. Domain origins is nothing but domains. Cause bucket 2 is one domain, and if you index.html also, there will be cause bucket 1 domain, right? The URL. So if you have two domains, basically the resources are not sharing. If you want to share the resources among the two different domains or origins, then you have to enable something called CORS. You have to enable something called CORS, where you should enable from where you want to retrieve the files. There you need to, in that bucket, you need to add this CORS. So CORS is nothing but you have something called small JSON script, where you will tell that to which origin you should allow this puppy.jpg. So if you put star, it will allow to everyone can access it. Or if you put only cost bucket 1 origin, only this bucket or this URL will get access to this puppy.jpg. Understood, guys? Understood? So remember, by default, CORS is not enabled. But if you have this kind of problem, then you have to go and check the CORS. So the only thing is, in two different buckets, objects cannot be shared, but if you enable the CORS, and the objects can be shared. Guys, everyone understood this CORS origin resource sharing? Everyone, non-IT? This will be mostly, you will get it from for the developers. This kind of issues you'll get it from developers, right? Nice. And we have something called here CRR. CRR meaning cross-region replication. What is that? Cross-region replication. And another one is called SRR, same region replication. Same region replication. Cross-region replication and same region replication. So guys, you might have already understood by these names, cross-region replication. Let's say you have a bucket here, right? So I created this bucket in Mumbai region, okay? And I have uploaded something called index.html. And there is a guy somewhere from all the way from Tokyo or wherever it is, and he is trying to access this index.html all the way from Tokyo. So what is the latency for him? High latency or low latency? Definitely high latency. So this guy always says that, hey, if I want to access your any objects or any kind of objects in that particular bucket, so it is having high latency. So what you can do simply is, guys, can't you create a bucket in Tokyo again? Can you create a bucket? No, don't get IT locations. Can you create a bucket? Yes. So now what you do, you create a bucket in Tokyo, right? And then here, what you should do is you need to create something called CRR rule. So we can create a CRR rule from the bucket, and we'll say that, hey, this rule saying that, hey, from this bucket, try to replicate all the objects. Whoever is uploading any objects inside this bucket will get automatically replicated to this bucket. Right? Replication. So this is called CRR. So if you want to replicate the object, so create a rule just like that, right? Create a rule from where you want to replicate to which bucket, right? And then it will be get automatically replicated. Let's say, for example, here, if you upload puppy.jpg, this will get automatically available in this bucket, right? Whatever the files that you have, objects that you have uploaded here, everything will get replicated here. But remember, existing files, if you want existing file also be replicated, yes, there will an option like if you want to, because the CRL is real rule is created after this index.html uploaded, right? Right. For that reason, right, there will be an option coming up saying that, hey, if you want to replicate the existing objects also, if you select that option, existing objects will also get replicated. But remember, this CRR rule is not enabled by default. CRR rule is not enabled by default. And again, this CRR is enabled on bucket level. CRR is enabled on the bucket level. Is this clear? And to set up the CRR rule, versioning is mandatory, guys. So versioning is mandatory to have CRR. So if there is no versioning enabled, you cannot do the CRR. And if you are doing the replication to the same region, Mumbai region. So I have the Mumbai region, another bucket in Mumbai region. So if you are doing replication between these two, then that is called SRR. Same region replication. This is called SRR, same region replication. And good thing is CRR can be done cross region and cross account also, guys. Cross account also. Cross account meaning if you have a different account, AWS account, you can replicate. Let's say I have my bucket. So whatever the bucket I put it here, so I can replicate to all the other AWS accounts also if at all you want. They're all the things that we see in Rahul, that in the lab. So we have an option. If you select that, you will get it. Otherwise, don't get it. If you delete here, delete will happening here or not. So you need to enable delete markers replication. So if you enable delete marker replication, then deleting will be happening. Otherwise, no. Is this clear? Okay. No RRR. So, and then let's talk about it a little bit on encryption. So what is encryption in general? Why do we use for encryption? Encryption is used for security purpose, right? Encryption is used for security purpose. Generally, encryptions can be done in two ways. Encryption can be done in two ways. Number one, we call it as in-transit encryption. What is that? In-transit encryption. Right? And the number two is called data at rest. In-transit encryption, data at rest. So in-transit meaning data while encryption while data is moving. So if the data is moving from one place to another place, right? If the data is moving from one place to another place, then you can encrypt it, and that encryption is called in-transit encryption. That is HTTPS. So while HTTPS, guys, HTTPS, the data will be moving to and fro from the client to server to client, right? So if you want to do the encryption in that level, with HTTPS, we can do it, and that is called in-transit encryption. What is that called? In-transit encryption. And this one, encryption while data is at rest. Encryption while data at rest. Encryption while data at rest, guys. So do you remember in EC2 we discussed, right? So which service in AWS where you can go and create certificates? Anyone? Which service is that to create? No. KMS is for encryption purpose, for certificates. Amazon. Very good, Manoj. Amazon Certificate Manager. We call it as ACM. So is where you can generate HTTPS certificates, guys. So encryption related to S3. So in Amazon also, S3 has 3 types of encryptions. In Amazon S3, how many types of encryptions are there, guys? Mainly 3 types of encryptions. So number 1, we call it as server-side encryption, which we call it as SSE. SSC in server-side encryption, again, we have something called SSC S3, SSC KMS, and SSC C. Right? So SSC S3 meaning it is AWS managed key. Guys, remember in EC2 also, whenever you're encrypting volumes, there will be a default key, right? If you drop down that, there will be a default key, AWS/EBS. Yes? Yes, right? For that, in each and every service also, there will be a managed key. That is SSC S3. For S3 related, there will be a AWS managed key. And if at all you want, you can get it from KMS also. That is AWS KMS key. And finally, we have SSC C, meaning customer provided keys. So we have these 3 different. So mostly 90% people will go with this SSC S3 because AWS is generating default keys, so you can use the default keys. And all these things will use is AES 256 algorithm, guys. AES meaning Advanced Encryption Standard. Certification question, guys. So what is the algorithm that S3 is using to encrypt the key, encrypt the data? AES 256. AES 256. So in server-side encryption, you have three ways. So if at all you want, you can go with client-side encryption. Client-side encryption and in-transit encryption. So in-transit encryption, but just now we have discussed, you can achieve it using HTTPS, right? Client-side encryption, guys, who should handle it? Client only should handle it, right? Should be handled by customer. So whatever the data you are passing from your company to AWS, that encryption should be handled by the customers only. AWS will not do. Is it clear, guys? Different types of encryptions. Nice. So from certification point of view, we have something called S3 data consistency models. There are two types. Basically, how many, guys? Two types of data consistency models. Actually, we know this already, but AWS is just putting in the words. For example, let's say you have the bucket, guys. So you have a bucket. Can you tell me? You have the bucket. Can you tell me? After writing only, you can read it. First, I need to write puppy.jpg. Then only you will read it, right? Then only you will read it, right? When we say read after write, we need to read after writing only, na? Yes, that is one of the model. Read after write consistency for this whenever you're uploading many puts only, na? Puts of new objects. So guys, these lines are, you should not change it. So this is one of the consistency model, that meaning read after write for puts of new objects. So whenever you're putting a new object, after writing only, you can read it. Let's say, for example, I have uploaded index.html, guys. Index.html. Right. So here I put data called ABC. Then so I can read it. Later I have changed to some DEF. So sometimes whenever you're accessing index.html, even though you have moved from ABC to DEF, you can still see ABC for a fraction of seconds. Sometimes. Did you ever saw that? Whenever you refresh, it will be gone, right? That kind is nothing but eventually consistency model. Eventually consistency for whenever you do overwrites of on puts and deletes, then that is eventually consistent. You should not change this word overwrites of puts and deletes. That meaning if you delete also this index.html for a fraction of seconds, you can access it. If you refresh it, it will be gone. So for deletes, it is eventually consistency. And if you're overwriting the puts and you're modifying it, then that is also eventually consistent. Slowly it will be changing it, but it's fraction of a second. We don't even see it. So please remember these two lines, certification questions, guys, very important. Okay, na? So let's assume there is a bucket here, guys. And in bucket, I have a very, very important file where I want to share it to only few people. Let's say, for example, I don't know which, some movie name or everything is released now, which is coming up, upcoming. Give some name. Okay, that's a KGF. Is there a really? Okay. So let's say, for example, we have KGF3 like this, and I want to I don't want to give access to everyone, guys. So what I can do is, guys, this kgf3.mp, this is also one file only, na? MP4, there will be a file. This is also a file, right? So if you want to access that file, you have to access it through the endpoint. Yes or no? So what I can do is there is something called pre-signed URL. There's something called pre-signed URL. Pre-signed URL. So pre-signed URL meaning this endpoint that what you have it, you can generate that and you can make it expire in a particular period of time. So endpoint is valid for certain period of time. So you can give this link to your friends, and you can set this expiration for 1 hour or 5 minutes, whichever it is. After that, that endpoint will not be accessible by anyone. This is called pre-signed URL. Understood? Everyone understood, guys? Is it clear? Nice. So, guys, you have buckets here, 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 here. These are all the buckets, for example. So this is Mumbai bucket. This is Ireland bucket. And this is what? Sydney bucket. And this is Tokyo bucket. And guys, and you are uploading it from Hyderabad laptop. So if you want to upload, yes, of course you can upload from here to all the buckets, right? Yes or no? Sitting here, you can upload to all the buckets. That's fine. So let's say, for example, if you want to upload it, you have a lot of data and if you need to upload it faster, guys, you want to upload it faster. There is something called transfer acceleration, transfer accelerator. Guys, if you use transfer accelerator, instead of going to your normal internet, it will go through CDN, right? It will go Kacha route. From Hyderabad, it will go to the CDN. Using CDN, it will go and upload. So that meaning it will be a little bit faster than normal you use to upload. So we have small things like this. So we will see more into the practicals. Guys, understood? So that is all on S3. And from tomorrow, we'll be doing the practicals on S3. Take the screenshots. Let me know once you took the screenshot. Yeah. Second. Third one. Did you took second one? Sorry. Okay. Third one. Both. Rust. So we have transfer accelerator and something called requester pay. Requester. So instead of we paying for the objects, requester will be paying the object. So you have small things which are things you can use it, but yeah. Excellent. Great. So from tomorrow we'll be doing the practicals. Okay. Can I give the final CC for today? Thank you. Great. So that is all, guys, for today. And I'll see you tomorrow with the practicals of S3. Until then, take care. Bye-bye. Have a nice day and see you tomorrow. Bye.